Podcast, pharmaceutical exposures. Everyone is on bleep. Everyone is on bleep. Everyone is on bleep. Even if they don't know it, or even if they think, hey, I'm not on any bleeps. No way. I'm not on any bleeps. But they are, but they don't realize it. Pharmaceutical exposure, you see? Pharmaceutical exposure when your own free will isn't in the mix on it, like it's just happening anyway. You're getting it in you no matter what. Even if you're like, oh no, I'm not on pharmaceuticals, I don't take any prescriptions, I'm doing good, I'm like, I don't need any of that. You're on it anyway. You're on it anyway. Anyway, check out Medical Meeting Podcast at Apple Podcast. Pharmaceutical exposures, everyone's on. Everyone's on it. So anyway, okay, we're talking about some symptoms, conditions today, so I'm excited about this. By the way, have you got onto the newsletter? Going to be making an announcement pretty soon about me being somewhere to do a book signing, so you don't want to miss that too, okay? So it's the first official book signing ever in all the years I've been doing this, and it's exciting because I'm going to be there. Just bring your books, whatever book you have. If you have more than one, just bring them, and I'll just sign it, the whole bit. So make sure you're on the newsletter so you actually know when that's happening, so you can look out for that. Let's go into this. Let's get going. Let's move into it now. ADHD. Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit? Because I think it's way worth talking about. So many people have it more than ever. How many people are on amphetamines? How many people are on amphetamines prescribed every day? They can't function. They wake up in the morning, they have to take it. It's like their day exists like that. They wake up in the morning, they can't think, and they just have to pop a pill. Amphetamines, they have to go on it, right? A lot of people, a lot of adults are on it. And they're putting children on it too. So that's what's happening there. Let's go into ADHD a little bit. Okay, here's what ADHD isn't. It's not genetic, and it's not, guess what, gut related. Now, if that pisses you off or anything, hang around so I can talk about it a little bit, okay? But ADHD is not gut related. It's not coming from the gut. It's in the brain. That's where the problem is. And there's people with messy guts, and they don't have ADHD. Messy guts. Their guts are filled with all kinds of different toxins and fungus and everything, and mold and garbage and processed food that's caked on the side of their intestinal tract forever. No real good bacteria, lots of bad bacteria, and they don't have ADHD. Keep that in mind. There's a whole ton of those people out there, and they don't have ADHD, but they have guts that are sloppy, messy, crudted up, filled with all kinds of nasty fungus, nasty yeast, nasty mold, nasty bacteria, all kinds of different stuff, dehydrated, stuck feces that have been there for 30 years lining their intestinal tract and colon, and they don't have ADHD. ADHD is not a gut problem. It is a brain problem. Yeah, you better believe it. Your gut better at least be ready to take on some good foods and to take on some good protocols and good things that your gut needs to get it to the brain, but your gut isn't the problem. That's not where it's stemming from. ADHD is in the brain. Let's go into a little bit, okay? So ADHD isn't genetic. It's not gut related. Neither of these popular explanations. I got ADHD. Yeah, it's genetic. It's in my family line. Everybody in my family's got it. It's genetic, right? I got ADHD. It's gut related. I went to the doctor. He said it's a gut problem. I had a health coach tell me it's gut related. That's my ADHD. It's not. None of these popular explanations addresses the true underlying cause of attentional focus, hyperactivity, impulsivity, or even executive function or self-regulation issues. Someone, I think I just saw it there. What book are you reading out of? Brain Saver. Incredible book. Check it out when you get a chance. It's on Amazon. All right. What really causes ADHD is, guess what? Mercury and aluminum. Mercury and aluminum. Medical medium information. Original medical medium information. Settling in the brain, cerebral midline canal. Right there. Right in the middle. Smack in the middle. Right there. Metal in an early age settling in the midline canal, and then as you get older, it squeezes closed, okay? So when you're young, your midline canal's open. It's open more. It's like this when you're a child. And then as you're getting older and your brain is developing, it starts to close up just like this, see? And as it's closing up, it's squeezing and holding all that mercury and aluminum that's settled in the midline canal. So the goal is to get that out. That's critical. If you want to get rid of ADHD, you have to get the metals out, right? In the medical medium, heavy metal detox is the most popular in the world, getting metals out of people's brains. There's a lot of competition now these days, you guys, trying to get their own metal stuff. And hey, try my metal thing, try my metal remover, and try, I know what is going on. Don't do that one. Don't do the one that's been working on everybody all these years and actually changing their lives and saving their lives. Anyway, if you see that going on. Anyway, the heavy metal detox, the medical medium heavy metal detox, gets the metals out of the midline canal so that ADHD and other problems are getting better for people, okay? Are getting better for people. Very important. So many people got their lives back because of it. All right, let's go into a little bit. Mercury and aluminum. And check this out. This is interesting. Here's some aluminum right there. Aluminum foil. Anyone? Aluminum foil. I know you don't eat aluminum foil. You don't think you do. And there's a lot of aluminum in so many different ways. That's just one out of 100 ways you can get aluminum in your system. Passes down from generation. Mercury passes down from generation to generation to generation. MM info. MM info. Okay. What really causes ADHD, right, is the mercury and aluminum. But check this out, you guys. Settling in the midline canal, which divides the brain's left hemisphere from the right, along with some additional metals sprinkled about, like a Christmas tree lighting, like Christmas tree lights sprinkled about throughout the brain. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, but the midline canal is the big boy right there. That's the problem for so many people. It's the same cause as autism. Important to know. So, very important to know. Same cause as autism. The ratio is a little more aluminum and a little less mercury when it comes down to ADHD. Saw another person ask what book it is. It is the Brain Saver book. Check it out. Okay. Let's go into this. When these metals take up residence in the midline canal, when they live in here, when the mercury and aluminum live in here, right there, the midline canal, do you guys see that? They block internal communications within the brains. Keep in mind, what happens is when you have industrialized metal that's in the midline canal, it's blocking communications of the right hemisphere to the left hemisphere. Communications that are critical, all right? So there's so much science and research doesn't know about the brain yet and about how the communication goes. The electrical grid, the supernatural grid is actually unknown to medical research and science. Communication that the brain has, okay? Meaning like neurons talking to neurons, and then the supernatural forces involved with neurons talking to neurons, and then the energy fields, and then the energy exchange, the frequencies, the vibrations, everything that is in here, along with the soul, because that's a whole nother aspect of it. The soul lives in here. And when the soul lives in here, you have that. So you have the soul, and then you have the physical brain. But when metals get involved and they're all jammed up in that midline canal, communication between the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere can go backwards in so many ways. All right. Communications within the brain, as a result, the brain must adapt. So our brains do adapt. And you see it with people. If you've paid attention enough to other people and what they're going through and what they're suffering with, you can see how they adapt throughout the years if you know somebody long enough. Or maybe it's a family member and you know them for the rest of your life, right? Okay. The brain must adapt and electrical impulses find new avenues. So let's talk about that for a second. Electrical impulses find new avenues. Important to know. All right. Okay, let's hit it. All right. An electrical impulse. Let's do a little electrical grid here. All right. Do a little bit of electrical grid. There we go. Okay. Electrical grid inside your brain right there. When you get metal, which is all in the midline canal, and you get it sprinkled about in different places, mercury, aluminum, okay? What happens is electrical impulses, electricity hits the metal. And when it hits the metal, it has to derail and go somewhere else. And when it goes somewhere else, it ends up hitting neurons it wasn't supposed to travel through. Different avenues it wasn't supposed to travel to. So as these electrical impulses, this electricity, this electrical grid is moving, it's hitting into metal right there. And when it hits into metal, it then moves away from the metal. It travels a different direction. So every time an electrical impulse is cruising, here it goes right into the metal grid, right there, boom, into the metal grid, ricochets. Sometimes it goes off to a different avenue. It has to find different places to go. And that's the adapting people do. Children do, right? Adults do. They adapt. Some of them have to fight their way through it, but they adapt. But the electrical impulses end up hitting metal, which is the red mark right there, and then travels into a different area, you see? And that's this whole thing where it's like that. Basically, when we're suffering with any kind of condition or symptoms, whether it's brain fog, focus and concentration issues, however it is, it's we have to fight through it. Our brain is fighting through it for us. Those electrical impulses are going in different places, so we can actually adapt and somehow survive it. And we do adapt and we do survive it. Afton over there on YouTube. I'm doing the Obsessive Thoughts Brain Shot as you speak. It's so helpful and I am really grateful. Oh, that's incredible. Brain shots right there. Oh, I'm in the book right here too. Woohoo! Okay, let's go into this a little bit more. All right. Here's the thing, what people don't realize when we're dealing with these symptoms and conditions is that there are real reasons why we're dealing with it, and we tend to start beating ourselves up. So I've seen people with ADHD just beat the crap out of themselves because they're not performing. They feel like they're not performing the way they need to. They feel they're not doing what they need to do. They're judging themselves. People are judging them that live with them or that know them, and it gets really hard. And we get so disconnected to realizing there's actually a real problem and it's not my fault that we end up just beating the crap out of ourselves. I've seen that happen for so many people for so many years. So, and if the medication they're taking, the amphetamines, aren't doing good enough for them, then they're really hard on themselves. And they just walk around like my ADHD is really acting up. My ADHD is really, I got ADHD, and that's what they tell themselves over and over again. But really what they have is, I got a metal deposit. I got metals in the midline canal. It's what they should be knowing. I got metals sprinkled about in my brain. And I got to get these metals out because these metals are causing this. But people take it on like themselves where they don't know it's the metals. They don't know it's something else. So then it's them. It's them. They're the ones. So a lot of people are hard on themselves because they're the problem. That's what they believe. I got ADHD. I'm struggling. I suck. I totally suck. And that's what people believe. They feel that way. They push through. They take their amphetamines, their prescribed amphetamines, and they push through. And they try to function, they try to live their life, but they always have this thing kind of hanging over them. Like, I'm hard to talk to, I get it, I got ADHD, or I'm having a moment with the ADHD, and then they're hard on themselves because they're not focused on what the real problem is. They weren't enlightened into the real problem. They weren't educated on the real problem. Instead, they're educated with, you got ADHD, that's your problem, boy. That's your problem, and you got to live with it. You can try to take some medication if you can. You can try to get rid of processed food and try to eat better, and maybe it'll improve a little. But either way, you end up thinking that you got this problem. And people, when you move that over to like the real problem, that's when life changes instantly already. It's like, wait a minute. This isn't me. I'm not the ADHD person. This isn't me. That's not my identity. I'm struggling with toxic heavy metals. I need to get that out. So then when you're doing the medical medium heavy metal detox and your ADHD is leaving, it's like a rebirth. It's like, what the heck is going on? So many people, then they're like reborn. It's a religious experience when you can get rid of something like your ADHD and you can get rid of it. And it's this religious experience. It's like, what? Because you're actually hunkering down, you're getting disciplined, you're doing the heavy metal detox, and you're getting better, and you're putting it behind you. So many people got rid of their ADHD. It's not even in their vocabulary anymore. They don't even talk about it. They moved on with their life. It was way put in the past. That's the medical medium information. It's just incredible. Trish Helmrich says on Facebook, so you disagree with science says about it relating to a dopamine deficiency? Correct. I do. Because the dopamine deficiency was a theory. They don't have any way to prove it. I mean, look, if science can prove it, if they can show you all that a dopamine deficiency is really happening in somebody's brain, like if they can really show you and then somehow show you that dopamine deficiency is causing the ADHD, but they can't, right? They can't do any of that. They can't do anything. They can just write a paper, and that's what they do. So, Trish, they just write a paper, and a paper with a theory on it, saying, dopamine deficiency. They don't have a way to test. They don't have a way to test that that's the ADHD. And then that's it. There's nothing there. It's like sand through your hands, right? But if they had a way to actually show that or prove it or be able to show someone somehow that was it, and they can present that, then yeah, I'd be open to it. I'd be like, all right, but they've never done that. Doesn't exist. Just like Alzheimer's. You know what science is doing for Alzheimer's now? They're taking medical medium info about mercury, toxic heavy metals being responsible for Alzheimer's. So now they're talking about that now, a decade or more later, after I've already been talking about it, teaching about it, and publishing information about it. So now science is like, oh, we think it could be metals. Really? And they still haven't found the metals in the person's brain to line it up to actually be Alzheimer's. Keep that in mind. It's not like they cut somebody's brain open and they found a metal deposit and they said, hey, that's the Alzheimer's. We have a metal deposit in somebody's brain. They're not doing that. They're just like hearing about it because of the books, millions of copies around the world and talking about, like metals and causing Alzheimer's and dementia. And then they're hearing about it and then they're writing papers saying, we think there might be metals involved, but they haven't cut open somebody's brain. They haven't discovered a deposit of metal, and then they haven't lined it up to Alzheimer's. See? So yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. So the evolving domestic chemical situation, you guys, that people are breathing in every single day, from treatments on their lawns to fabric softeners to detergents to fragrances to the scented candles. Right now you hear it all the time, right? Scented candles thing. It's like, right? Yep, scented candles to all the different fragrances, perfumes and colognes. Those domestic invaders harbor more metals. They also lower the immune system. They also have their own toxic agents inside of them. But what happens is those contribute to more metals. They're vaporized metals. So fragrances are vaporized metals, toxic conventional fragrances. I'm not talking about like a really pure lemon oil, okay, from the rind of the lemon, and that's what you're smelling. That has heavy metals in there. I'm not going there. I'm talking about like the fragrances that are just in everyday people's lives, the air fresheners to the car air fresheners, to fabric softeners, perfumes, colognes, to scented candles, to the fungicides, to everything that's thrown on people's clothing. All of it combined is filled with vaporized metal, and so you're breathing it in. And what happens is with children, when they have ADHD, they already have the metals in the midline canal. They're already struggling. They're already dealing with metals, right? The aluminum, the mercury, and other metals. And then on top of that, you get all the domestic invaders, those exposures, and breathing in all of those exposures and all that metal. And then, yeah, it just compiles and worsens things. But if somebody wants an answer, how do I get rid of my ADHD? Got to get the metals out. Have to. It's critical. Got to get them out. Heavy metal detox. Very important. Heavy metal detox. If you want the metals out. It's that critical. And one that has a track record that has worked for so many people. That's what matters. Not new ones people put together because they want to hop on the bandwagon, the train, they want to make money, sell products. That's all great and all, but use a heavy metal detox that is known to work for years and years and years. Dr. Fawn, also don't buy the neurodiversity celebration. It's meant to normalize the fact that everyone is having neurological problems. And Dr. Fawn, by the way, is an expert in autism, expert in ADHD, expert in so many different neuro and brain conditions. So Dr. Fawn, thank you for being here. Amazing. So let's head to another little spot here. Where are we? Brain fog. Yep. Brain fog is always worth talking about because so many people suffer from it to a degree that they feel like they've lost their mind, and they're getting diagnoses now of early Alzheimer's, early dementia. They're getting diagnoses of early diseases. And anybody who's asking about autism, read the Medical Medium Secrets, right? Read that book if you can, the new edition. I have it somewhere. I was looking through it the other day. I will get it. Voila, magically it appears, and I have it right here. Okay. So if you want to know more about autism, check out Medical Medium, new edition. If you like, problems with brain fog is that it's not like it was years ago. I used to see like severe brain fog cases years ago. I used to see there was a decent amount of people with it. But for the majority of people with brain fog years ago, it was more mild conditions, not as many serious. Now we're in an epic state of emergency when it comes down to brain fog. There are so many people coming down with it every single day. They get the worst brain fog conditions after after the flu, after some kind of, condition, like some kind of like bug that's going around, or stomach flu, or norovirus or something, and then they have the worst brain fog afterwards. There's a lot of people triggered into it, but there's a lot of people that it just happens. They wake up in the morning, and it's one morning and it's not working. Something is not right. Something's not kind of clicking in, and then it goes away by 10 in the morning, or it comes in at 10 in the morning, and then it goes away at around 1, and then it comes in bad at 3, and then they're like intermittent brain fog, and they're in this state of intermittent brain fog, and then it's all day, every day, all day, every day. Sometimes really bad, sometimes not so bad. Scale 1 to 10. Well, my brain fog is at a 3 today. Next day, my brain fog is at a 7. The next day, my brain fog is at a 5. Next day, my brain fog is at 11, where I can't even focus, I can't think, I can't work, I can't do anything. So many people really suffer from brain fog, and they really do. All right, so let's go into a little bit. Severe cases of brain fog can be devastating, indeed devastating, making people feel like they've lost their minds. I'm in Brain Saver, guys, just reading right out of Brain Saver. I'm on page 329. I saw somebody ask what page, 329. So yeah, all right. So I want to show you the other books on. Very interesting. All right, let's keep on going. Even mild brain fog is very challenging on the person's mental and emotional state. I find brain fog being one of the most challenging for a lot of people. And, it's really, really difficult for a lot of people. Can I put this right here, you guys? There we go. Kind of in every place there. Heavy metal detox. Can't say it enough. Get better. Work on it. Heal. Move past it. There is life after chronic illness. There is. Okay? There is life after chronic illness. Keep that in mind. Never forget that. There truly is. Okay. Even mild brain fog is very challenging on the person's mental and emotional state. One major factor behind brain fog is a liver that's saturated with a lot of toxic metals and garbage. So there we go. Got the liver again. Don't lose that liver. Okay. Livers that get filled up with all kinds of junk, all kinds of different stuff. Toxic heavy metals are a big one right there. Yep. Scented candles, air fresheners, fragrances, pesticides, herbicides, other toxins, providing fuel. Now here's the thing with brain fog, okay? Brain fog is a little different sometimes, where someone is viral and toxic. Viruses in the liver. That's the liver. Virus in the liver. Yes, the liver harbors so many viruses. Epstein-Barr, cytomegalovirus, HHV6, HHV7, herpes simplex 1, HSV2, okay? Undiscovered herpes viruses, shingles, sit inside our liver. That's where they sit. And what they do is they eat and feed on the metals. So they eat and feed on the metals inside the liver, and then they release a neurotoxin, and that neurotoxin goes into the bloodstream and floats around and gets all through the body. And then it hits the brain, and then we short circuit, and then we got brain fog. All right. The Epstein-Barr virus feeds on these poisons. The neurotoxins it releases explode through the bloodstream and spinal fluid, and from there, they can cross, get ready, the blood-brain barrier. Due to their unique infiltration quality, they can Trojan horse it into your brain. They can cross the blood-brain barrier. They can Trojan horse it in there. That's what they do. Okay? They enter into the brain. They short-circuit neurons. Once again, we're in that place where the neurons are all short-circuiting. Roni Lee says, I'm noticing more of my friends getting brain fog after a sickness. Yes, it lasts for them long after they're sick. Yes, Roni, totally. And I see that all the time. Let me explain why. Okay? So, all right, you catch the flu. You get it. You're sick with a fever. You're dealing with the flu. You got congestion. Your body is overrun by flu viruses. They are proliferating and exploding. Your immune system has to battle those flu viruses. That's your immune cells, right? There's the flu viruses. A war ensues, okay? Many of your white blood cells, your immune cells, and killer cells get destroyed in the process. Many of them are lost in the battle, and as they're battling the flu virus that's happening right there, the immune cell dies, and you lost another immune cell. And then many of the immune cells are actually killing the flu virus, see, and eating the flu virus until it's gone, and then die themselves. Your immune cells die themselves. Because the flu made you lose half your immune system or more, something decided to rise up. Something rose up. It was another virus that was sitting inside the liver, percolating and living in there, having a good time, whether it was dormant or just a little bit post-dormant, And then after the flu, when you losing your half of your immune system, battling the flu viruses, and your immune cells died, the virus rose up. And that virus, Epstein-Barr, most of the time, Epstein-Barr is having its day. And then it's feeding on things it likes to feed on. Poisons, toxins, toxic heavy metals, eggs as well. Eggs. And when it feeds on those eggs, because you're having eggs, I don't want to drop that egg. What happens is that it's releasing more poisons and toxins. Those toxins and poisons go to the brain. And we end up short-circuiting. And where we end up sicker than we were before. I was talking about this long before the 2020 pandemic. I've been talking about this long before that. So it's long flu. And that's what it is. You get the flu, or you get the norovirus. You get some kind of bug. It knocks your immune system down. A war ensues. Your immune cells die. And when they die, because they're trying to save your life and they're beating down viruses, then a different virus that's been hidden in you, cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr, HHV6, HHV7, shingles, rises up. Most of the time, Epstein-Barr virus, that's the one, that's the opportunist in the situation, rises up, and now you're sicker with other problems long after your flu, long after all that. So, yeah, very interesting. Okay. Over there on YouTube, I own a GABA and celery force help my brain fog so much. They do. I recommend it to friends all the time. I do. Okay. Mukto, celery force for brain fog. Yep. I agree. All right, let's get into this because we got some stuff to cover. Okay. When Epstein-Barr feeds on these poisons, the neurotoxins it releases explode through the bloodstream, spinal fluid, across the blood-brain barrier. You have now brain fog. And then short-circuiting of the neurons happens, and then damaged neurotransmitters occur. These neurotoxins have the ability to diminish neurotransmitter activity and neurotransmitter chemicals themselves. Basically, your neurotransmitter chemicals start to diminish, and then you're in worse shape. Kate Courtney says, I got brain fog, and you were the only one who saved me. A blessing led me to your first book right as it was released, and I knew I found the truth. Thank you, Kate. Here's my first book. It's a new edition. That's it. All right. The electrical impulse was carrying messages and thoughts and information, so let's cover that really quick. All right? So, yep. All right. So your brain right here, okay? Electrical impulses are carrying information, so all that electricity going through your brain, is carrying information. I was just thinking, right? When it snows outside, how pretty it is. The snowflakes are coming down. Do you ever see like the big snowflakes? They're coming down. And the temperature is somewhere around 32 degrees, 33 degrees. And the big snowflakes are just floating down. And they look like they're about to melt. And when they land on your hand, they're half melted. And it feels cold. But yet it's not that cold outside. And the air smells so fresh and clean, right? Okay, all right. Electricity is carrying information throughout your brain. Electricity is carrying information throughout your brain. So I I love the winter. And like, I really like the snow. You know, like when it gets cold outside and the snowflakes, when they're bigger, did you ever see them like melt? Like, I talked to somebody recently and that's what they said to me. And I knew they meant everything that I just said, and they couldn't get it out. Their brain fog was so bad. The electricity was hitting metal and toxins everywhere. They had so many neurotoxins in their brain. And they were trying to tell me that what they really wanted to say, because I sat there and I talked to them, and I talked to them for like 45 minutes, for like an hour. And I talked all about it. I said, take your time. Tell me what you mean. Tell me what you want to say. And the person who used to talk perfectly fine, talked great, articulate anything, actually really smart person, a genius, could not explain properly how they felt emotionally, how they felt about the air being so crisp and clean, how they felt about the snowflakes, how they just start to melt, how the temperature was about 33 degrees, a really highly intelligent person that wanted to talk about temperatures, fluctuations of temperatures, and different weather patterns, and the snowflakes into different sizes and shapes, right? All that. And they couldn't even get it out. And they literally were in tears and said, AW, that's why I need to know. Like, and this is somebody I haven't talked to in years that I knew 20 years ago. And they reached out to me and they're like, I can't even tell you what I'm going through right now. And I'm like, I know what you're going through. I know, I understand. Yes, I'm not in your shoes and I'm not living with that, but I know. I do know. The spirit of compassion just allows me to know. I since I was a child. So, and this person couldn't even get that out, and the brain fog was taking over and taking over. They had to rest. That's it. After that 45 minutes of talking, they were in bed and they were done for the day. That was it. The brain fog was so bad, and this was post having a really bad flu like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. Terrible, terrible. So electrical impulses, electricity is going through the brain, carrying information, so it's carrying that snowflake information. Or what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about something that you saw? You want to talk about some birds you identified, and you want to tell somebody about which birds you like or your favorite birds, and you want to talk about that. So you have birds, right? You have birds in that information. What else do you want to talk about? Grocery shopping. You were at the store. You saw some really incredible apples, right? So you're looking at these amazing apples. So you got apples in your mind, right? On that electrical impulse, in that electrical impulse going through the neuron, you got apples, information about that, the ones that you like. You like the red apples, you like whatever apple that you like, the Fuji apples, the Brayburns, the Galas, all that. And what happens is when your brain fog is really, really bad, you won't be able to really kind of come across to somebody about the Gala versus the Brayburn versus the Fuji versus the Honeycrisp, right? Versus the Macintosh versus the Red Delicious versus the all the different ones, and the Granny Smith, the green apple, and you won't even be able to kind of like work with that with somebody else, like talk like you want to talk. And that's what people go through. They suffer with severe brain fog, where they have to kind of shut it down and shut it off, where they're not going to be able to talk about apples. They're not going to be able to talk about their store trips so much, or what they see, or what they saw at the farmer's market, or how the weather is, and what they see, whatever, with the trip they took. They can't go into detail. And on that electrical, grid right here is all that information trapped on it about the birds they saw, all the information about the food they were eating or the food they like, and they were whatever, and it's on that grid, and then that grid short circuits right there from neurotoxins. It short circuits from all the Epstein-Barr neurotoxins, from other metals in the brain, and as it's short circuiting, they're starting to run their adrenals. It's not their fault, but their adrenals start to crank up. Okay, here they are. Lost them. And they start to sweat. People with a lot of brain fog sweat when they're talking to someone, or trying to convey something, or articulate something, or get something across, especially if it's emotional. if it's emotional, they start to get drenched. Their armpits get filled because adrenaline is actually kicking in. Adrenaline's kicking in because there's a problem in the brain. There's something wrong in the brain. There's a short circuit. So really bad brain fog, a short circuit happens. And when that short circuit happens, because metals and neurotoxins are interfering with electrical impulses, electrical activity, and when that's happening, they're short circuiting and it's making them nervous and they're struggling, and then their adrenals start to release adrenaline. And then adrenaline is rushing through their body because they have to convey a message, and they're upset and they're emotional, and then they get wet. Their armpits fill with water. They start to sweat. Happens all the time. Tekka says, oh my God, on YouTube. Oh my God, AW, that's me. When I try to communicate with others, it's difficult to get my words out. Thank you for all you do. All right. I'm really sorry you go through that, by the way. I really am. I'm sorry. All right. Over there on IG. You're speaking to me, AW. I would struggle to find words to speak. Wasn't even able to find things in my own house. It was that bad. Only medical medium info helps me when I suffered to death. It's awful. I'm so glad that the information is helping. It's moving you forward. Thank God. And Elia says, this is me. I can't recount anything. I don't sweat, but it's so hard. And I feel frustrated because I remember the feeling of what happened, but not details. I understand. I do. Yep. We're in brain fog a little bit more, and then we're going to move on. All right. These neurotoxins have the ability to diminish neurotransmitter activity and neurotransmitter chemicals themselves, meaning that when an electrical impulse tries to run down a neuron, the electrical impulse can misfire, and it's approaching any kind of contamination, so it misfires and short circuits. That's what happens. Another factor in brain fog is a high toxic heavy metal load. Yes, within the brain itself. That's a brain loaded with metals. That's another form of brain fog. You can have both. You can have both. Keep that in mind. You better believe it. Okay? Here's a metal deposit right there. Here's a metal deposit right there. Aluminum, mercury, lead, cadmium, arsenic, right? Metal deposits. You can have a bad case of brain fog, or you can have metal sprinkled about like this. Christmas tree types of metal sprinkled about. You can have different metals all sprinkled about in the brain. There you go. Okay? Toxic, heavy metals. Metals. That can get us in trouble. Big time. Let's move on. Okay. Celery juice. I got some celery juice. By the way, a little grapefruit juice today. Needed a little glucose right there to get me pumped up. All right, let's go. Focus and concentration issues. Let's hit that a little bit. One source of focus and concentration issues is along the lines of what you read about in the ADHD section. Heavy metals such as mercury and aluminum in the cerebral midline canal, sprinkled throughout the brain as well, or both. When metals reside in the brain, they often dampen electrical activity, causing the brain to try to adapt by increasing electrical output, which brings on temporary bouts of clarity that results in overheating. So then the brain must go into extreme cooling. So we're going to talk about overheating, cooling the whole bit. So I'm in this book right here, Brain Saver. Brain Saver. Okay, which ends up reducing electricity activity, leading someone to flip-flop back to moments of poor concentration. So cooling, heating, cooling, heating, cooling, heating. This is interesting right here about focus and concentration, okay? Our brains get hot, and then they quickly cool. Then they get hot again. Then they quickly cool. That's what they do. Our brain gets hot. Right? Okay. What happens? And sometimes our brain gets hot, certain area, just here. Our brain gets hot in this area right here. Heats up, then starts to cool down. See this? Fluctuating. You're focused. You're getting focused again. Heats up. You're losing concentration. You can't focus anymore. Cooling down. Okay? Right? You're getting focused. It's coming into clarity. You can think. You can actually talk. Think. You're hanging in there. Heating up. Got a problem though. Cooling down. Can't focus. Losing concentration. Okay? Trying to give an example of kind of how it works. Because having toxic heavy metals in the brain can cause a lot of different things to happen. One is extreme heating, extreme cooling, fluctuations of heating, cooling. And then we're all over the map. We are all over the map. Emotional, we're like, wow, we're focused, we're there, and then we lost our focus, our concentration, we're somewhere else. We're somewhere else now. Or we're now really emotional, or we're less emotional. We can be everywhere and anywhere, right? Heating and cooling happens inside the brain because metals and the electrical grid in some people, this whole supernatural thing happens physically and, right, not physically, and it happens spiritually and physically, and it's a mesh, a whole mesh of emotions, of physical information in the neurons, information that's in the soul. There's a lot of heating, there's a lot of emotional output, and then there's a lot of cooling, and it's up and down, all of it. Okay. When metals reside in the brain, they often dampen electrical activity, causing the brain to try to adapt by increasing electrical output, which brings in bouts of clarity, heating, and then boom, cooling, which ends up reducing electrical activity, leading someone to flip-flop back to moments of poor concentration where you're flip-flopping. Like, I got clarity, I lost it. I had clarity an hour ago, I lost it now. Now I'm struggling. I had clarity this morning before my coffee. I drank all my coffee, had clarity, boom. And then after my coffee later on, when everything just kind of like, I don't know, when my caffeine ran out, no clarity anymore, no focus, no concentration. Now, focus and concentration issues can also come from a chronic viral infection. Okay? Chronic viral infection. Viruses love to eat. They love to eat this delicious cheddar cheese I have right here. They love cheddar cheese. So when people eat cheddar cheese, the viruses will love to feed on it. Sometimes it takes years, and then finally, boom. It's just they fed on cheese every now and then when you're eating it, and fed on more cheese every now and then when you eat it. And then the viruses proliferated, they multiplied, they came out of dormancy, they got hungrier and hungrier. And so cheese and dairy products will feed viruses. They will, over time. Butter will feed viruses over time. Let's see. Western says over there on YouTube, I almost never have coffee, but when I do, my brain lights up and I can talk so easily. had my coffee. But a day later, I'm depressed and tired. Oh man, I'm depressed. I'm tired. Ugh. Yep, I understand. All right, let's go. Let's move. Let's move. Let's keep it going. So a lot of good comments coming up. Okay, why does that happen? You had your coffee, and your adrenaline acted as an amphetamine. Guess what an amphetamine does? Okay? Because your coffee is like a daily amphetamine. Every day, people have their amphetamines through their caffeine, right? And then there's people that are taking amphetamines. Okay? I won't list them all, but there's a bunch of them. When they take their amphetamines, guess what it does? It ignites happiness out of your adrenals. It ignites adrenaline. So the reason why we take the amphetamine is so our adrenals can go boom. And then we're focused. We're feeling better. We're feeling like we can think. We're rising out of our brain fog. Rising out of our ADHD. Rising out of our focus and concentration problems. And then when the amphetamine wears off, coffee, chocolate, right? Caffeine, matcha tea, green tea, or prescribed amphetamine that your doctor gives you, when the amphetamine wears off and the adrenaline comes down, we're depressed. We're sad. We're depressed. We're crying. We're miserable. Many people are just in a dark place. And then we get back on our coffee, our caffeine, our matcha, our chocolate. We get back on our amphetamines, which is caffeine. And then we go and we take another amphetamine dosage from our doctor's amphetamine prescription. And we're back on top again for a little bit. We're having a pretty good day. We're back on top. And then the adrenaline's flooding. Adrenaline's flowing. And then it all comes crashing down. And we're depressed and down in the dumps. Max Vaughn says over there on YouTube, when I quit coffee, there was a period of time when I didn't know if I'd ever feel happy again. It's a struggle. It's not easy. Vaughn says I gave up coffee. Amazing. Okay. All right. Chronic viral infections where viruses such as Epstein-Barr can feed off of toxic heavy metals such as mercury and aluminum, like we're talking about before, releasing neurotoxins that float around the bloodstream, saturating neurotransmitter chemicals, dampening everything. When this occurs, electrical impulses running across neurons short circuit because they become polluted. What's now occurring is a new wave of dangerous chemicals being produced every day by the chemical industry. I'm trying to make it sound as interesting as possible, because when you talk about the chemical industry, it just doesn't sound interesting. Yeah, the chemical industry. Yep. They're doing some bad stuff out there. Chemical industry is creating a bunch of bad chemicals. And those bad chemicals are hurting our children, hurting us. But what's now occurring is a new wave of these dangerous chemicals. The chemical industry is pumping this shit everywhere into the environment, and our children and our pets are ingesting it, and we inhale it. These toxic chemical substances are adding to the viral fuel, keeping us sick, because it's like breathing in more dosages of unauthorized toxic heavy metals that are floating through the air and getting into our bloodstream and our body. Glad you guys love to hang around for some of this. You know, we're going into this. It's either this or just like what everybody loves, which is 5 ways for longevity. 5 best tips for longevity, because only everybody has the attention span right now of a flea. Did you notice that, you guys, that everybody has the attention span of a flea out there? So all they like is like quick biohacks, like five top foods for longevity. 5 best ways to stay alive, to live to 200 years old. I was like, okay, I could watch that for about 5 seconds or 5 minutes. All right. Sometimes focus and concentration seems to improve randomly on its own. And sometimes they get worse. One theory is that the gut has everything to do with the brain. That's a theory out there. And so cleaning up the gut automatically improves mental clarity. Yeah, that's it. This theory is misleading. The real reason that someone can focus more easily when they start eating better is that they're removing unhealthy foods like viral foods. They're lowering the viral consumption of the toxic viral food. So what they're doing, so when they're getting away from processed foods that have a lot of bad cheese and all the other garbage and everything else, when they're starting to push that away, and they're pushing away the gluten, because gluten feeds viruses, all of a sudden there's a little bit of an improvement. Okay, let's go in just a little bit. Yeah, all right. It's not all about cleaning up the intestinal tract and restoring bacterial balance to the gut. This is why so many unhealthy people with very messy intestinal tracts filled with unproductive yeast and mold and fungus never had a focus and concentration problem ever. Ever. These people with strep sitting right there on the outside of their anus every single day. Strep. Like 3 kinds of strep. If they took a Q-tip and stuck it in their rectum and try to actually grow something in a petri dish, right? Okay, get a culture going, they would see some fierce strep grow from just swabbing their anus. And at the same time, those people don't have focus concentration issues. They're just living their life, going to work, doing their job, whatever they're doing, being productive. And they have all kinds of crap inside their guts and all kinds of stuff. Bacteria and everything else, and fungus and yeast and mold, unproductive fungus, yeast and mold, or really bad stuff, right? C. diff and all kinds of garbage in there, and it's feasting on everything, and it's just a mess in there. And they don't have focus and concentration. You can talk to them, and they'll talk circles around somebody. All right, let's move on to the next one. I see Lyme disease right there. We'll have to talk about that another day. Ooh, lupus right there. Do you guys have this book? Do you have this book? All right, CFS, ME, CFS, or CFS, also known as neurological fatigue. Medical medium information, chronic fatigue syndrome. That's not my info right there. CFS, the term CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome, is not mine. It's not medical medium. I can't take that credit. Neurological fatigue, though, is medical medium. And it's also known as some other things too. Sometimes fatigue is easy to explain if someone has been running themselves down, exercising too much, playing too much, traveling too much, vacationing too much, working too hard. Maybe they're just stuck working too hard. Maybe they're being emotionally beaten down. Maybe they're getting PTSD from their jobs, from their careers. Maybe they're getting PTSD from their relationships. Maybe they have a very difficult relationship. Maybe they're breaking up in their their relationships and friendships are breaking up, and they're having problems and struggles, and there's no resolve, and it's weighing down on their brain and weighing down on their head and brainstem, and they're just thinking about all their different problems they have while they're trying to work, while they're trying to live their life, while they're trying to support themselves, everything all in the above, and they get tired and burnt out, and now they got tiredness, fatigue, the whole bit. Okay? All right. Oh, I got some celery force right here, and I'm going to take some myself. So I have not taken any. But what I noticed about celery force, for me, and I've noticed for a lot of people, kicks in like 12, for me it's 12 minutes. Kicks in 12 minutes. I've seen people where it kicks in 8 minutes. There's no celery in there. It's called celery force, right? Celery force is an incredible, incredible supplement that I swear to God, I will get on my knees and swear to God Okay? Like, I'll say, God, if I am not telling you the fact that this happens to me, if I'm not telling you what I've seen this do for people, okay, then I'll take my punishment, whatever that is. Because if for me it's 12 minutes, right? So I'm going to pop some in if you don't mind. Did you ever see me swallow a pill? A capsule? So what happens is like, in like 12 minutes after I send those down, the celery force, all of a sudden, things just wake up. And I don't sleep that much because I'm working really hard. So some nights I'll get like, when I'm writing the books, it's really bad. It's like 2 hours a night, 3 hours a night sleep. And when the deadline comes up, it's like 1 hour. And right now, you know, I'm only doing like 5 hours of sleep at night right now. So I'm juggling a lot of stuff. And so when I take that celery force, and I'm not like timing it right now. I don't know. I got to look for a time, whatever, a clock. But right around 12 minutes is when it just like, slam, something starts happening. It's the craziest clarity. Like, it's clarity, right? It's so crazy. Anyway, you do celery force too? Saint Sue says, oh my God, I took celery force before celery juice yesterday and forgot, but I had the most functional morning like you took amphetamines. Amazing. Seriously, I don't know if you know anything about like that. Like, it's crazy what it does. When he says, oh yeah, celery force is amazing, my best friend lately. Yeah. And the thing is, like, every time like I don't take it, like if I just like forget about it or something and I'm just like, I'm busy and I'm doing stuff, whatever, and I don't take it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta take it. It's like, you just feel it hit like smack. Mukta says, celery force helped me immediately with brain fog. Thanks, beloved. Yeah, no, it's great. It's like so great. So I got like 6 minutes to go before it hits me. Is it like 6 more minutes to go? Cold White says, are you writing a book? I want to answer that. Believe me. All right. Okay. So some people, it's not about fatigue, where they're tired because they're all busy, like I said, and I explained all that. Extreme fatigue that's not from lack of sleep, on the other hand, has an air of mystery about it. It's that fatigue people get where it's a mystery. I'm like 4 minutes away. 10 more minutes to go. Wait a minute, when was that comment left? Because I think I'm like am I 4 minutes away or 5 minutes away? Hey. While it can last for a shorter time, extreme fatigue is often long-term chronic fatigue syndrome. Brutal. Long-term, your legs can feel like you got rocks tied to them, bags of cement on your arms. You feel like you can't lift your arms, right? You feel like you're just dragging along. You know that feeling? You're just dragging along. And worse than that, you feel like everything's shutting down on you. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it where it's severe, CFS, where you're shutting down. You have to nap and you're not even sleeping. You're just shutting down. You're still awake, but you're just shutting down. You guys know I endorse these guys. Femergy. You guys know I endorse them. It's the best stuff on the market, hands down. I don't care what anybody says out there about their supplement being the best. Sure. Right. No, BS. This is the best stuff there is. And there's reasons why it is. It's unbelievable. The only company that does things like doesn't put all the anti-caking agents in there and all that stuff that no one tells you about that's in all those other supplements. I could go on forever, but I know that that's not what this is today. So, you know, when it comes down to CFS and chronic fatigue syndrome, what I don't like anybody suffering or struggling with it at all, right? It's kicking in, by the way. I'm just starting to feel it. It's kicking in right now. What I don't like is when someone gets more than the fatigue, more than the lead legs and the lead arms. They're feeling the fatigue where they're shutting down. They're laying on Mattress Island, not because they're tired. Yeah, they're tired, but they can't sleep. They're laying on Mattress Island awake but shut down, like in this place where they can't like function. They can't talk. They're just shutting down, and they have to do that. They have to rest their nerves for a little while. And then they come out of it and they're able to function for a little bit. And that's back to square one again. It's such serious neurological fatigue. It's brutal. Yep. How fast does celery force work with you guys, by the way? Like seriously, like how fast? Is it 8 minutes? 12 minutes? 14 minutes? 20 minutes? I mean, it's always, for what I've talked to people, and for me, that's between 5 minutes and 20 minutes. It's like between 5 and 20, right? Somewhere in that pocket. It's insane. And it usually hits the person at the same timeline, too. Like if they're an 8-minuter, then like it hits 8 minutes. So it's in 8 minutes. If they're a 10-minuter, it's like in 10 minutes. It's always around 10 minutes. It's crazy how that works. Yeah, someday I'll talk about it more too. All right. So chronic fatigue syndrome, big part of it is viral infections, Epstein-Barr, cyto. Epstein-Barr is the big one, shingles, all the viral loads that bring people down. But Epstein-Barr is the big shining star, though. That's the big one for CFS. And then what comes along with Epstein-Barr is strep. So strep and Epstein-Barr, they're the big ticket winners for CFS. And then if you got chronic fatigue syndrome, that's really, really bad, and you're dealing with the viral issue and the bacterial issue, and your immune system is dogging it, your immune cells are dogging it, they can't keep up with the bacteria, the strep, they can't keep up with the virus, they can't keep up. And then as that's happening, you might also have metals. And when you got metals like aluminum and mercury, that's just some aluminum foil right there, coupled with all that in your body. And then the domestic invaders, like all the fragrances, giving you more stuff, challenges for the immune system. We end up with severe chronic fatigue syndrome. And yeah, Rachel says, celery force makes me tired. Okay, but after that, are you one of those where it makes you tired? Like the rare one, it makes you a little tired, and then you're more sparky later? It's actually feeding the brain, helping it to strengthen, and then you're more sparky later and have a better day ahead of you, or a better day the next day because it's restoring. That's really awesome. All right. Or is it something else? Or is it something else that happens? You guys, incredible. So we covered a lot of different topics. I just want to run across a few things by you. Let's go to muscle pain, joint and muscle pain. Let's look for it. Yeah, we're going to find it. There it is. Joint muscle pain. If someone falls on a knee or twists their ankle, we know why they're hurting. If somebody falls on a knee and the knee healed, but the knee's still hurting, we don't know why they're hurting. Someone twists their ankle, their ankle's better, but their foot still hurts and ankle still hurts. Mysteriously, we don't know why they're hurting. Then they get a plantar fasciitis diagnosis. We still don't know why they're hurting. If someone didn't fall on their ankle, didn't fall on their foot, fall on their face, if someone didn't break their arm, if someone didn't bang their head, if someone didn't bump into something, if someone didn't twist their leg, but yet they got joint and muscle pain, we don't know why they're hurting. We only know why they're hurting if they twist their ankle and it heals and the pain goes away and they get a clean bill of health from their doctor, medical professional, and pain is gone. No joint pain, no ankle pain, No muscle pain around the ankle. It's gone. We know why they were hurting. We know why they were hurting. They were hurting because they twisted their ankle. They sprained their ankle. They banged their foot. We know why they were hurting. They banged their knee. It healed. Clean bill of health. Pain gone. It's because they banged their knee. They wake up one morning, they didn't bang anything. Their knee starts hurting. Ankle starts feeling like it's sprained. Foot hurts. We don't know why. We don't. Or, like I said, if they twist their ankle and the ankle heals completely, sprained ankle's gone, but they're still hurting for a year later. We don't know why. Medical meme information knows why, and the books know why. If someone falls on a knee or twisted ankle and experiences acute pain, it is usually straightforward. Straightforward. Some pain comes from injuries, accidents, or incidents, and there's no mystery involved. What's very different is if someone experiences chronic pain in the joints or muscles with no discernible source, magically happens, magically appears. Yeah, even if a doctor diagnoses someone with RA, lupus, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, it's still a mystery, joint and muscle pain. Someone gives somebody a lupus diagnosis or a fibro diagnosis, it's still a mystery. It's mystery joint, shoulder, elbow, joint pain, muscle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, still a mystery. The real cause of this chronic pain, chronic mystery pain, is viral infection. Sometimes acute, although most long-term infections of a virus or viruses sitting in the liver, feeding on its favorite foods. Eggs are its favorite food. Yep, eggs. Years down the road, you guys, all you're going to hear about how eggs cause viral problems. Info. It's all you're going to hear down the road. I mean, it could be 3 years from now, 4 years from now, maybe a little further down the road, but it's all you're going to hear. Everybody's going to be running from eggs. Everybody's going to be talking about, don't eat eggs. Everybody's going to try to do shock and awe. Like influencers are going to be like, you should stay away from eggs. Science now says eggs are bad for you. And everybody's going to go, no, don't take my eggs away. No, you're a jerk. I'm not following you anymore. I'm unfollowing you. It's going to happen like every day down the road. Meanwhile, I've been crucified for it. Nailed to the cross. The real cause of this chronic fatigue and chronic pain and all that muscle pain and aches, acute pain that's not from banging into a wall or the corner of a door jamb and you bang into it, is viral infections. Lynn says, I just took my celery force. It helps me get sharp and on my A game at work. Is it 8 minutes, 12 minutes, 10 minutes? When does it kick in for you? Okay. Viruses sit in the liver. They actually release neurotoxins. Viruses also spread throughout the body. They get into areas on nerves. And so let's do a little thing on that really quick. All right. Give me a quick second here. Okay. So, got a vagus nerves. Some vagus nerves here coming out of the brainstem. Got a little bit of a vagus nerve here. Okay. Viruses feed off of foods like eggs. That's what they do. All right. Wherever that bug went, I will grab it right here. Feeds off of eggs when we eat eggs. So we eat them. They go into our body. They become fuel. The undeveloped proteins feed bugs, viruses specifically. They love them. Bacteria too. Okay? So, when the virus releases the egg in a neurotoxin base, okay? Virus releases an egg in a neurotoxin base. The neurotoxins, so let's make a little virus here. So we got a virus in the body right there. Another virus in the body. Epstein-Barr. Epstein-Barr is a big one for muscles and joints. Epstein-Barr, baby. Yep. All these Epstein-Barr viruses. There's a lot of different Epstein-Barr viruses. People collect a lot of them now. They don't realize it. All right. So when those viruses eat the egg, because you ate the egg, a poison comes out of the virus. That poison, see it come out of the viruses here? That poison is an highly allergenic poison that hits the vagus nerve. When it hits the vagus nerve, different areas, we can feel pain in the strangest places. Now, if it hits the phrenic nerves, some phrenic nerves in our body, right? You know the phrenic nerves? Phrenic nerves right here. Okay? Right? Hits those phrenic nerves right here. We can have pain anywhere. Shoulders, crazy places. We can have pain everywhere. Tibial nerve. Do a little tibial nerve down here. That's right. We can have pain in the craziest places. Right? The virus feeds on the food it likes. This little egg right here releases neurotoxins. They hit nerves all through the body. Nerves that go to joints and so forth. Connective tissue around the joints. And now we're in pain, mysteriously in pain. Regardless of your diagnosis, ongoing joint and muscle pain is viral. That's a strong, bold statement from Spirit of Compassion. These are not my words in the books. Okay? SOC's words in the book. And if someone doesn't like that, well, 10 years down the road, when all their biohacks didn't work for them, and their scale finally tipped, and they're having real problems with their health, and no influencer can kind of like doctor it up, yeah, the books are here for you. And it matters. If you could swallow your pride and get over it. The books are here for you. Over here, how can we get rid of these viruses like Epstein-Barr? Protocols in the books. There are protocols in the medical medium books to get rid of the viruses right here. Protocols at work that's gotten rid of viruses in people for years and years who have moved themselves forward. There is life after chronic illness. There is life after sickness. There is life after sickness. Okay. Incredible. See you on Telegram later today. I'm going to drop a Telegram message. And, exclusive audios on Telegram and also on the Medical Medium IG broadcast channel. The one that's MM Inside Scoop. I'm going to leave a message there too. Make sure you go there. So, the broadcast channel on IG, you guys, check it out. Try to get on there. I'm going to give you some inside scoop messages. And then Telegram. Could do a really good message on that later. Get on the Medical Medium newsletter so you know where I'm going to be. You guys, I'm finalizing the details right now. I'm working on it, finalizing the details. I am going to be somewhere. I'm letting you know. And it's going to be in June. It's going to be in June. That's the month. It's going to be in June. I think it's going to be around June 15th. And I'm going to be doing a book signing. Yeah. In LA, Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles, California, in June, around June 15th. I'm going to be doing a book signing. I'm just working out the details, figuring it all out. I'll have more information. Get on my email list, the newsletter list. So I can let you know June in LA. It is. That's where it is. Tell everybody about it. Okay? I'm going to be there. If you can deal with me, since I'm so obnoxious, if you guys can deal with me, all right? I'm going to sign books. Is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sign this one right here. I'm going to sign this Brain Saver book right here. To the medical medium. Let's see. I'm going to sign it somewhere here. To the medical medium community. I freaking adore you. That's right. I signed my first book right here to the medical medium community. I freaking adore you. I do. Anyway, it's going to be in June in LA. I'm going to be physically there, God willing. And I'll have more information about it soon, locations, so forth, and all that. And exact day, I think it's going to be June 15th, I think. And, all right. Love you guys. I'm not going to be in Europe signing books right now. Nope. This is where it's going to be. This is my first official and only book signing I've ever done. I don't know if I'm going to do another one. I don't know. If I might do another event of some kind, but this is a book signing. So I don't know if I'm ever going to do another book signing. It's the first one ever. All right. Love you guys.